Hello, everyone. My name is Ronald Lethcoe, and today we are talking about leveraging ChatGPT for educators. Now, I have a couple links here if you want to follow along. The first one is a link to our LibGuide, Clover Park Technical College Teaching and Learning Center LibGuide. So if you go to bit.ly/3pmbyque, make sure that these letters are capital and the last letter is small, but it will take you to Teaching and Learning Center LibGuide, in particular our section on generative AI. So you can come here, and people are seeing this. You can come here and learn a little bit more than I will be able to talk about today. So for example, uphold the value of AI, or navigate and evaluate AI. So if you have, concerns about, the output from the generative AI, we've got here some tips on how to do that one. Considerations, the use of generative AI in higher education, and we've got some videos here. So it's a mix of articles and videos there if you need some more information. But let's go ahead and get into what we're going to talk about today. The first thing that I want to start off with is this. I was on LinkedIn the other day, and I found this guy, Jason Gulia, just suddenly popped up into my feed, and I guess he's the self-proclaimed AI guy for higher ed. So if you want some information about AI and higher ed, maybe give this guy a follow if you're on LinkedIn. But here's what he posted, and then what I did is I tried to follow what he did. And so if we look here, it says the following ChatGPT experiment blew my mind. It took me 8 minutes. So remember that, keep that in mind, that this is an 8-minute thing that he tried on the phone. So number one, I took 3 images from a challenging textbook, no biggie. So I'm not even recording. Oh, I am recording. Okay, good. Pause this. So I took this, I'm teaching an ESL class right now, and one of the units is about, it compares the past continuous with the past simple. And so I had the book scans already on my computer, but they are not OCR, which means I can't select this text. It's just an image. It's just a flat image, okay? Which is important to realize once you can understand what ChatGPT will then do with it. If you have a PPT with text that you can select, I think you'll probably get a better result. But for me, I wanted to just show what it would look like if you just had a textbook and you took a photo of one of the pages of your textbook. So I teach this grammar and writing to ESL students. And the way that I do it is I have two classes for one unit. And we basically do a page each class. So we go over the explanation, we do a little bit of exercises in the first class, and then we finish up the exercises in the second class, and we do some writing afterwards. But anyways, I just wanted to follow this this same kind of experiment. So imagine, and then this is what I wrote at the bottom. So for my prompt, we call these prompts. Imagine you are an expert ESL instructor for a technical college. Can you give me a summary of the attached images? And so you'll notice this first one, some people think it's works well. Some people think maybe it's not that helpful at all. But I like to give whenever I have a conversation with ChatGPT, I like to give it a role. And so I feel like, from my experience, if I say that you're an ESL instructor to ChatGPT, then what it does is it takes all the language that this large language model, which is LLM, we call generative AI, especially things like ChatGPT or Google's Bard, or what's the other one? Cloud, Anthropic's Cloud. They have a big, corpus of language that they've learned off of, and we don't have time to go over that kind of how it works behind the scenes, or the ethical implications, which I think are important, but just not the scope of this presentation. Narrowing the focus down, instead of having drawing from everything, I'll say you're a ESL instructor. So then what it does, what I like to think it does, is instead of having all the information to pull from, it goes to the ESL, anything related to English as a second language. That's what ESL stands for those that don't know. And so it's going to have all these like simple explanations for how grammar works, or vocabulary. The vocabulary that it's going to use hopefully will be matching for whatever level the student is at. And so an expert ESL instructor will hopefully know that, right? It's going to know, okay, we're talking past continuous, past simple. This is like pretty basic stuff, so it's hopefully will give basic responses. All right, so but I just want the summary for myself for now, and then this is what it came up with. It said we're on unit 14. It's got the title here. Part A, illustration depicts a sequence of Jack reading a book, receiving a phone call, and answering the phone. So if you can notice, it does have the text here, but then it also has the pictures, and it notices that the illustrations are there. When the phone rang, Jack was reading a book, okay? And it gives you kind of here, this one. What was Jack doing when the phone rang? He was reading a book. So it's summarizing everything pretty well. Part B is this down at the bottom, and it's giving a distinction between the past simple and past continuous. So it's doing a pretty good job. The exercises page, it goes over that there are practice questions, fill in the blank for the students, and it tells a little bit about that. And so the objective, the material aims to teach students the distinction between past simple. Okay, we know all that stuff, right? So that's no biggie. I mean, the taking a picture and uploading a picture, that's new. I don't know if that is available on the free version of ChatGPT, but I have the paid version, the plus version, and so I have that capability. And if you're curious, I don't know if the school will pay for you to have plus capabilities with programs like ChatGPT. I think it's a discussion you would need to have with your dean. Okay, so next one, I asked it to summarize it. So I kind of combined these two things, right? I put the images in, it gave me the summary. Then what did I say? I asked it to design 3 45-minute lessons around those pages. I told it to combine Gagne's 9 events of instruction with immersion learning. Okay, so let's see. This is what I did. I said, can you design 2 50-minute lessons? Because that's actually what I need to teach. And then it just said certainly, and then it broke it down minute by minute. Picture descriptions, 10 minutes. Past simple, past continuous, intro, 10 minutes. A role play for 10. Contextual exercises and feedback and summary. Now, looking at this one, it looks okay. This might be the way that I would run my class, but I feel like I still need to go in and maybe change some of this stuff, right? I don't know if everything is exactly going to be, fit into 10-minute chunks, which would be nice. Here we go, pair students up, one enacts an ongoing, another interrupts. I like that. That's a good, because that's what the point of this grammar, I guess, point is you have a continuous action and then you stop the action. So I like that. And then we're delving deeper. So the second day, here it's got the writing in there. I don't know how it knew that I was doing a writing thing, but there it is. And then interactive activity. So it all looks pretty good. And this, if you didn't see it when I typed it in, took about 10 seconds to think about this this lesson plan. Okay, so I've got my lesson plans. Let me see about the Gagne's. I'm not sure if this. Okay, so can you combine this 2-day lesson with Gagne's 9 events of instruction? And for those people who don't know about Gagne's 9 events of instruction, this is a pretty cool like structure. If you want to follow this kind of structure in your class, it's, you know, scientifically proven. Gaining the attention right at the beginning, going over the objectives, talking about previous things, prior knowledge, then presenting what you want to say, giving them a little guidance and practice, give them the feedback, and then assess the lesson objectives. So I like that one. But so let's see what it says here. So number 1, gain attention. Begin by immersing students in a storytelling session. Okay. Then we've got the objectives. Then we've got the recall of prior learning, students to share sentences they know in the past tense. Okay. Give them the content, and then this was the immersion. Use an image of Jack, engage them by asking how they describe in their own language. That's pretty good. I think unnecessary. Okay, and then you can see it just fills out the rest, right? For both days, it gives me nine instructions for the class to follow. Then let's see here. 2 options stung. The other was great. I asked to expand it. I asked ChatGPT to put it into table form. It did a good job. I think it's impressive that you're able to take information and then easily, just by saying put it in table form. This is not useful for me because, you know, it's just the text and the, you know, the description, the activity. But I could see use for that in the future. Okay, and then next up, let's see, I switched to ChatGPT voice and ask it to make a podcast for my students. So ChatGPT voice is something that is on the phone. If you have the ChatGPT app for the phone, you can actually speak to it, and it does a really good job of adding in punctuation. You don't need to, like, sometimes when I use the Google, I'll have to say, oh, what are you doing today? ? And I'll have to, like, you know, say the punctuation points. But in ChatGPT for the phone app, you don't have to do that. You can just speak naturally, and then it will correct any errors, and it will give a good enough prompt for ChatGPT to respond. Now, I wasn't able to do that for that part for this experiment, but I did ask, can you make a podcast for my students on the topic? And then it said that actual audio files is beyond my capabilities. Okay, so it did say I can script a podcast episode for you, which I thought was clever. And so then it gave me this podcast, basically a script. So we've got the narrator, calling this one the Grammar Junction. Today we will embark on a journey through time, diving deep into the past tenses. So it's got this story, the tale of 2 tenses. We've got the English language. So what I noticed when I read that, especially when I got here, well, it's rather intuitive. So this, I have, you know, over 10 years ESL teaching experience. And so when I see a word like this for a grammar class that is going over the name of the book is the essential, you know, basic essential grammar that you need. So it's like, you know, we're talking about the past tense and continuous tense. And so intuitive is not a word that I feel like most people in that level are going to know. And so ChatGPT should have realized that, but ChatGPT is not perfect. This is a good chance for me to talk about how this kind of thing where I noticed that intuitive is too advanced, or in all its glory. There's a lot of this stuff here. So there was another one, embark on a journey. These are pretty advanced words for, you know, speakers that English is not their first language. English is their second language. And so my experience as a teacher helped me to realize that this is not a good response. And so I feel like a lot of people are worried that, you know, you're going to lose your job to AI, but I still think there is use for this kind of knowledge, right? If I go in here and I say, I want you to code me a program so that if my students have a question related to something, they can go to this app. Can you just make an app for me? And it's going to try, you know, it's going to give me a response. ChatGPT is going to give me a response. But if I don't know coding, if I don't know JSON, or if I don't know whatever the other one, C++, it's going to give me an answer that might work, but my knowledge is not going to know whether it will work or not. I can try, I can learn how to do it, and I can have ChatGPT help me, but the bottom line is the person that knows how to code is going to know if that code is correct or not. And so you still need to have that skill. I have the skill to say, okay, these words are too, you know, advanced. And so I'm not going to use this. If you are an ESL teacher, a new teacher, you say, oh, this is great. Look, it's a podcast. They gave me the whole podcast. You record this podcast, and then it's got a bunch of advanced words. The students don't understand it. Okay. So that was a bit of a long explanation, but basically I came down here and I said, I like the format, but the language is so difficult to understand for low-level ESL students. So I just told it, if you haven't been on ChatGPT before, it's a conversation, and everything that you've talked about in that conversation can be referenced by ChatGPT. So I can just continue to go through, right? I can say, can you make the script again, but geared towards lower level ESL students? So it already knows about this script that it typed out before. And then now it's going to give me a much simpler version. So hello, friends. Welcome to Easy English Time. Well, today we will chat about things we did yesterday. In English, we have to talk about the past. One quick, like I ate. So if y'all can see, no big words here. Very, very simple, easy to understand for the low-level ESL students. Okay. Now, let's see what the next step was in this. He says, I asked it to create an assessment based on the lesson. Okay. So basically what we're doing right now is called, we are priming ChatGPT based on the information that, you know, we want it to know. It already knows what the lesson topic is. It's giving me a summary right at the beginning. Then it's giving me a lesson plan, right? It's giving me a podcast, and now it's got all this information. Now I want a scenario-based learning activity, and then I also want a rubric. Now, I don't know your stance on rubrics. I like rubrics because I think it's very transparent for the students, and then also it's very easy for the teacher to grade. Rubrics take time, though. You have to think about how the points are going to break down, the value of do I want to give more points for this section? You all know about rubrics, right? It takes a lot of time. Here's where we can use we can leverage ChatGPT as educators to make really easy, quick rubrics. So let's start with the assessment though. Here's a simple, so I say create an assessment based on this lesson. Here's a simple assessment, okay? So as you can see, it filled in a very similar way to what was on the exercise page. It's got a circle the correct verb form, complete the sentences, and then it added this one here, write a short story. In a past tense, write a short story about something you did yesterday. Perfect. I like that simple assignment. Then I said, can you make some scenario-based learning activities? And so it gave me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 scenarios. Context, students recall events from a typical school day. Use a school timetable to ask students to discuss with a partner what they did in each class and during breaks. So here you got, I wrote an essay, she drew a picture, they played soccer. So this seems like, you know, maybe young kids, doesn't seem higher education, but something like this might be better. So another thing with ChatGPT, you're not going to get the perfect result the first time. I mean, I would say it's maybe 50-50 chance. You might get something that you can just use straight from, you could just copy and paste it straight from ChatGPT. I can copy this. You know, if for those that were curious, the way that you get this information out of here right now is to just copy and paste. So I know a lot of people were having that problem before. How do I get it out of here? If you just open up Microsoft Word, and then we can just do this paste where it only pastes the text, okay? So now I have this in a Word document. We fix the formatting a bit. Then I can just copy this over to Canvas. And, you know, if I'm making an assignment here, the assignment is called Lost in the City. And then I would just write out the context for them. And then there we go. We've got a scenario-based activity. Or actually, this one probably wouldn't be a good assignment, right? You wouldn't want, this is for people interacting. So I would just have this up on the screen, right? If I'm in the classroom, I might see if I can try to get it all on one thing, maybe increase the font. So what I like to do if I'm ever doing something on Word, change it like that, and then come back here and then bump up the font. So I'll have this in the front, and I'll show my students this for our activity in class. And then, so that was cool. I like that it did that. Now here we go. Can you give me a rubric for the short story and the scenarios? So the short story from before, and then these scenarios. And then if you look, it's got the criteria down here, and then it's got the rank, right? So 5, 4, 3, 2. I guess 1 would be nothing. But look at this. So use of the past tense. Consistently, accurately uses past tense. Few minor errors, okay? You start to notice a couple errors, you take a point off, several errors, okay? And then you can go through, and then that one is for the short story, and then it also made another one for the scenario based. So it's very similar, right? Consistently, accurately uses past tense verbs in the scenarios. So I will then be able to go into Canvas and, you know, copy and paste all of this into a rubric. And then I've got, like I said, transparency for the students and an easy way for me to grade. Now, I then took I think this is the last step here. We're getting close to the end. I asked it to turn the lesson into a set of slides. I put the description of those slides into Gamma. Now, Gamma is a website that I was not very familiar with before I did this. But I'll show you what it looks like. If I can find the website again. Okay, here. So I went into Gamma and I said, can you make a presentation on the past continuous and the past simple tense? And what do you know? I didn't do any of this. It has my name on here. It says by Ronald Lethcoe, but I didn't even find this image. It found this image that talks about the past continuous, and then it made all of these slides, which see how they, oh yeah, they turn up like this. So not really my style on the presentation, and I don't know if it's exactly presenting the information in the right way, but definitely a good starting spot, right? If I wanted to save this, there's a way to save it as a PPT, where then I can take it into PowerPoint and go adjust if I wanted to adjust that at all. So that's Gamma. So that's auto generated slide deck. I literally just said make slides about the past continuous and the past simple. Okay. And then last here, I asked ChatGPT to summarize everything, and then I popped it into ChatGPT and DALL-E 3. And then so let me show you what that looks like. So I don't know if I did that on this thread. Let's see here. So I said, can you create an assessment? We did that already. Let's go down here. I said, summarize everything. Yeah, this was after I had it made this slide. Summarize everything. Lesson plan on the past tense for ESL grammar class. Objective. Past tense with storytelling and scenarios. See, I don't know. I feel like it's missing because we're comparing. Remember, we're comparing the past continuous and the past tense. I don't see that. And it's talking too much about what we were doing, right, with the Gagne. So this wouldn't be, I wouldn't be able to present this to the students, but it's a good idea to kind of, get all my thoughts together in one place. And so, okay, and then I'm going to use DALL-E to help make an image set. Can you give me 10 image prompts? And so let's see here. This is just for those people who don't know, DALL-E is is it not here anymore? So let's check here. They wholly redid the ChatGPT interface since I talked about this last time. Let's see here. Time machine, just returning to ancient Egypt. I want to find storytelling and ESL. I like this idea of the first one. So what I can do now is if I have if you have the more advanced version, let's see if it's going to load up. ChatGPT 4. Oh, okay, it has DALL-E in it. So let's say I want to imagine, or actually, imagine is what you do in Midjourney. In ChatGPT, you can go and you can say, I think, give me an image, or create an image. And then we put it in there, and let's see what it will do. It should show, yeah, that it's creating the images now. And so we'll wait for a sec while we're waiting. That's the end here. And I know it took a lot longer for me to explain it, but while I was doing it, I would say less than 10 minutes. And lesson generated, rubric generated, podcast script created, PowerPoint generated, and a set of images. You can get a lesson. The starting point of a lesson in 10 minutes. Okay, so that's the point of this. That's where I wanted to start this presentation, because there are a lot of things that you can do in ChatGPT that will help you, and especially if you know what you're doing as an instructor. I like to think of you all as the subject matter experts. You're an expert in whatever you're teaching, and you, like, for me, I could go through and do these steps myself, right? I can look at 2 pages of a book. I can write a summary. I can create a lesson plan. I've created, hundreds of lesson plans. The podcast, that takes a little bit of extra time. The activities, right? I've got those. I've got a list of activities that I know work with my students. The rubric, I could sit down and go, point by point, but you can see the time's starting to add up. Instead of spending an hour to get a lesson ready, then I can get it ready in 10 minutes, or I can get the start of it ready and then maybe 10 minutes of refinement the long and short is that you're going to save a lot of time using ChatGPT to help you out. Now, that's the picture. So let's go into our objectives here today. I think we spent a little too long on the intro, but I just wanted to show you, you know, the process almost real time. Here's the image that it just created from DALL-E. So I wanted a notebook with scribbled stories from the yesteryears. And I even added the little pictures here on top. Now, this image that it created is Creative Commons licensed open. It's an open image. I don't have to worry about citing. You know, I might cite that I made it in DALL-E, but this is my picture that I made. Okay, which sounds crazy, right? Like if we didn't have ChatGPT, how would I even do this? I'd have to find, you know, an old journal, scribble a bunch of stuff in here, find some old pictures. It took a lot of effort here, and this took about a minute for ChatGPT to create it with the help of DALL-E. So, all right, our objectives here today: apply the use of several prompts within ChatGPT that can be used for course development. So I feel like we've already, you know, covered some. Make me a rubric, make me a lesson plan, but we're going to go into more detail. I have to say that this presentation is based off of Rob Rose's presentation. I basically just took his presentation and kind of edited it to fit, you know, what I wanted to say here with you all. But this is an OER resource, which, if you know, in at Clover Park, we love some OER. ChatGPT in higher education. So ChatGPT in higher education. Let's go ahead and type in Rob Rose at the end here. And you can see somewhere, let's see here. Oh, yeah, there we go. Pressbooks. Hopefully you all have signed up for your Pressbooks. But you don't need to sign up if you want to access this. So if you just go ahead and type that in, what did I say? ChatGPT in higher education, Rob Rose. For me, it was the second option. Just look for the Pressbooks. And this is going to give you some more stuff, more information. Here, you want to know about the ethical considerations. It's got a page dedicated to that. ChatGPT proof your course. So you're worried about students who are just going to use ChatGPT to, you know, do the homework, do the assignments. And so you can see here on this one, he's got a prompt straight, you know, that you can just go in and copy and paste. I'm hoping you can provide me with several open-ended questions that require students to form their own opinions, analyze multiple perspectives, and provide evidence to support their viewpoints. Okay, and so this one is promoting critical thinking through open-ended questions. So we have to think about, now that ChatGPT is here, we have to think about how our assignments have been created in the past. How will they work in this new age of AI? Because gone are the days of, you know, here's what we learned in class. Your homework is to write a 5-page essay on this topic, whatever the topic is. A 5-page essay is very, very simple for ChatGPT. So you can just say, write me an essay on this topic from the perspective of, and then they would just list, you know, themselves, right? Make sure you talk about this, right? It's going to be very difficult to know what is generated by AI and what is generated, you know, from your students. So you have to think about what kind of assignments you're going to create. And I think focusing on critical thinking is big. And then let's see what else that you recommend here. Real world scenarios, project-based learning. I love that, PBL. Group projects, group presentations. So a lot of stuff here, and I'm going to talk about some of this stuff in the presentation today. But That's just if you want some more resources, you can go and find this out. So hold on just a second. Make sure that I am not going too long. Let's go ahead and go to the next part here. So these are called prompts. I think I said before, prompts. But basically here we've got what you want the GPT, the large language model to do for you. Okay. Generate several thought-provoking discussion prompts. Okay. And then here's the response. So we'll go into more detail. I just want to let you all know that these are called prompts, and here are some different things that you can do, right? Generating study materials, discussion prompts. You can see that one. Personalized feedback. So we'll talk about this, where you can give you might have an assignment, and then your students submit the assignment. You can take their submission, plop it into ChatGPT, and then give the you can have ChatGPT write the feedback for you based on whatever the assignment is. And obviously, once again, going through and checking, okay, does this make sense for feedback? Because once again, you could go and you could give feedback to all your students. But we're trying to think about ways that, it cuts our workload down on, things that we don't need to do. We can do it. We have been doing it, as our experience teaching. We've given feedback, right, to our students, but it takes a lot of time and energy. And if you're going to do it, if I'm going to give feedback anyways, that's going to be similar that ChatGPT would give out, then why not let the machine do all the heavy lifting? I can go in and then fine tune anything that doesn't look like it would be helpful for the students. So supporting active learning, enhancing peer learning, and as we showed here, developing the rubrics. So let's go ahead and look at some prompts here. Actually, I don't want to talk about this slide, so I'm just going to go through it very quickly. All right, so here's the workflow. So basically, what this guy, Rob Rose, did was he wanted to create a course from scratch. So he had an idea of a course called Let's ChatGPT, the what, the where, and the why of AI teaching and training. And actually, this course was geared towards undergraduate students. So Rob Rose, trying to stay ahead of the curve, letting the students know about it, and then where would be a good time to use it. I guess it would be like when it would be a good time to use it, and then why would you use it, and then I assume how. So I mean, he's got different different wall words in here, but you get the idea. I'm sure that in his course he goes over those things. So I'm wondering if you could help me to generate a list of 5 to 10 course objectives that could be used to help guide the development of this course. And so when I gave this presentation before, I asked some of the people, the attendees to the presentation, to give me something to make a course about. And so I have their chats here. So yeah, here we go. So we had somebody from dental in there. I think it was Hannah Prapur. And then so here is the prompt that I started with. I was trying to keep it very similar to what Rob did. Let's see if we can get back to Rob. Yeah, here he is. Okay, so I added in this one. He didn't do that, but like I said, I like to give a role. You're an expert dental assistant instructor please help me design a program for students at a technical college can complete and get a dental sterilization certificate. So that's what Hannah suggested. I'm wondering if you could create 5 to 10 inclusive learning objectives. So I just copied that one here. So I'm wondering if you could help me create. And so this was his 10 objectives. These were the objectives that came out in the presentation. Understand sterilization fundamentals, comprehend regulations and guidelines. So once again, I don't know anything about dental, and I don't know if this would be helpful for a dental sterilization certificate. Obviously, somebody who knows about dental. So at the time, Hannah was looking through this, and she was, oh, this is good. She liked the responses that ChatGPT gave. I think she liked all of them, and she was even saying that, oh, this is something sterilization equipment, or it was one of these where, oh, I didn't think of that, but that is important, right? That ChatGPT helps to kind of fill in the gaps, right? It's going to give you a bunch of information. Some of it's going to be good. I would say most of it is good. Some of it's not going to be good. Some of it's going to be, oh, I didn't think of that. Now, and then once we have that, then we can decide, what we want to do with it. So we like them. I like them all. Can you please make an 11-week course based on these objectives? So I think I'm getting ahead of myself. This was the course that Rob created, the Let's Chat GPT course. This is what it looks like, and you can see this image was generated using either Midjourney, which is the image generator. We're talking about a text generator now, but this image generator, or DALL-E, which is the one that I just showed you. So that's the course there. Now, let's see. I like examples 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. So Rob just chose these ones. He didn't choose all 10. If I were to use these as broad objectives for the course, could you help me come up with a list of weekly module topics? This course will be taught over a 12-week period, so I need 12 modules. And then, boom, gives out a list week by week of what each of the modules should be. So I did the same thing here. Since we were teaching 11 weeks, I said, give me 11 module topics. And then introduction to sterilization. Then it tells a little bit more about it. So regulatory landscape, exploration of OSHA and CDC, and going all the way down. And it's giving me 11 weeks with the review and practical assessment at the end. All right, let's see what happens here. I typed in, okay, so what happened first, I typed in, could you come up with 2 to 3 module learning objectives? Actually, let's follow along. I like the idea of looking at what Rob did here. So here were his topics, and then here are the learning objectives. So we're taking a big approach. We're starting with, actually, we should start with our college-wide learning outcomes, right? Because those are things that we want all students to do. So, if I were to go and do this again, once those college-wide learning outcomes, I have them, I would plug those into ChatGPT and say, these are our college's learning outcomes, right? For all students. Then I would narrow it down. I want my course learning outcomes, right? Or I would want my program learning outcomes. Got my CWLOs, my PLO style, and then I go down to the college learning, course learning outcomes, the CLOs, right? Then, so that's basically this one, right? I've got my objectives, would be my course, similar to my course. They should be based actually on my course learning outcomes. And then we've got the breakdown. So we've got our outcomes. Then how are we going to, meet that goal? Here are the step-by-step, week-by-week plans for that. Then now, once I've got each week, then I can go in and I can go week by week and make the objectives, the learning objectives for each of those. And I could even put in, if I've if I've trained it on the school's college-wide learning outcomes, if I've trained it, just training, by training, I mean, like, I gave that information and then now it's kind of got that information in the conversation to pull off of. I've given it my program learning outcomes. I've given it my course learning outcomes. So the objectives should reflect, all of those different layers. And so here, I said, give me 2 to 3 module learning objectives for week 1. But then I went in and I changed it because I think it's important. Inclusivity is important at our college, and I think in the world in general. But since I didn't put in the college-wide learning outcomes and all the other outcomes, I just said here, give me some inclusive learning objectives. Okay, and so it gave here week 1 is sterilization. But then this model, students will be able to explain what sterilization is, why it's essential to dental practice, and this thing. Okay, so this is all seems good. Be able to various areas, instruments. Oh, here we go. Encourage the students to discuss and understand the ethical importance of sterilization, focusing on patient safety and public health implications. So that one, I feel like, checks that box on inclusivity. All right, and so that's as far as we got in the classroom. Here's what Rob did. Here you can see the module 2. Oh, I like this image especially too, is because you can see at the bottom, note this paragraph above was written by ChatGPT after providing information about this course, its module structure and learning objectives. It was edited from its original version. So here, citing what was done, and even writing the citation down here at the bottom. So I don't think necessary, but in a effort to be more transparent, I feel like it's good for the students to see that. Even the teachers using it, right? I don't like to use understand or recognize for learning objectives since they are not measurable. So if we look back at his one, understand, recognize. Is that the one he didn't like? Yeah, recognize. Because it's hard to measure if somebody understands something, right? Because I could get an answer correct on a test, but does that really mean that I understand it? So this one is talking about Bloom's taxonomy. Now, if you're not familiar with Bloom's taxonomy, here's the original image here, which is kind of the focus of, when you're teaching. You start here, it's kind of like scaffolding. You start with remembering, giving them, definitions of words. Okay. Then it goes into understand, but here are the verbs that you can use. Instead of saying understand, you can say describe or identify, right? So what was the one? He said, understand the basic concepts and principles of artificial intelligence. So you would have to do some rewording, but classify, these different parts of generative AI, or identify when given a list of large language models, recognize, the companies that use each of these large language models. So you'll get the ideas. And then it works all the way up to create at the top. So here we've got design, assembling, constructing. So I like to think that as we are a technical college, that we're hopefully staying in this range here, as this is where you're going to get the most information. But as we all know, we need to be able to do these things as well, right? Going up the pyramid. But anyways, the reason I showed that is for those people who don't know it. Bloom's taxonomy is a nice reference for learning, the steps of learning. And but then also the verbs here are very nice. So if you're ever making objectives, try to use the verbs from Bloom's taxonomy. Now, this is the original one. They redid it, and it's very confusing. But basically, here is that list, the pyramid. The pyramids, goes this way. Remember, up to create. But then it added in a knowledge dimension where you want to think about factual things. So, for example, a factual, remember, list the primary and secondary colors. It doesn't say understand or know the primary colors. It's listed specifically. Give me a list, right? What are the primary colors? Red, yellow, blue, right? And then the secondary colors, okay? And then here we've got conceptual, recognize symptoms of exhaustion, okay? So we have to remember what are the symptoms of exhaustion. And then we want to be able to, oh, is this person exhausted? Let's go through the checklist. We can recognize they've got the symptoms, so they must be exhausted. So you can just see as it's going up to the top here, where we've got generate a log of daily activities. Okay, so we're making something, we're generating, and then it's factual, it's daily activities. But if we look at the metacognitive, create an innovative learning portfolio. So this one, you're making something, but you're going to have to think a lot wider, broader about how to do something like that. So you can see this is really the top of the pyramid. It looks like a similar pyramid shape. So okay, so now it's going into assignments. So now we've got our objectives. So here are my objectives that align with each of the module objectives, right? So explain the basic concept. So he put in here the objectives. Explain. Ideally, each of these would be designed to emphasize critical thinking, problem solving, and originality. So back to what we were talking about before, how to ChatGPT proof your lessons. You can put a focus on these skills. Okay. Let's see here. So once again, a conversation. You can have a conversation with ChatGPT. If it gives you something you don't like, tell ChatGPT that you don't like it, but then also say what would make it better. What were you thinking? And then here you can see this is the discussion from the course, and then the discussion based on all the information that he provided it before. I want to come back to the assignment 3, AI implementation plan, 25 points. So here is the rubric. How can you help me develop a rubric? So we've got 5 points. Chosen an AI-based tool, clearly identified and described, 2 points. Strong justification for the selection of the tool, 3 points. So justification, why, this is where you have your critical thinking comes into play. And so it's going to just spit out this whole rubric like we did before. And then, like I said, just copy and pasting into Canvas. Your students are going to see very clearly, oh, okay, I can get 3 points if I have the function selection. And then, like I said, easy for you to grade. You just go in and click, 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 click. Okay, you've got however many points. So for the people who aren't familiar with rubrics, you could just use the rubric to grade. So you would just go through and, okay, this one partially met this one, full. Oh, they forgot to do the documentation. And then here, I'm just going to go ahead and give them 9 points. And then I would just add them up. So rubrics are nice. Okay, we're winding up here. The key to generating better output for ChatGPT is to create better prompts. So we call this prompt engineering, and it's learning the best way to ask ChatGPT for something. Okay, so let's look at this. Instead of saying, can you help me to develop a lesson plan on a topic for identifying literary themes? So this is what most people do, right? They'll just give the basic thing. We're used to Google, where it seems like in Google, the simpler your query, your search query, the better results it's going to be. But in ChatGPT, it's opposite. You want to give it as much information as you can. within reason. But trying to be as specific as you can is going to give you a better response. So instead of saying, can you help me? You said, can you help me develop a lesson plan for 10th grade? So we're giving it more specific criteria, right? 10th grade English classroom, because this could be anything. Literary themes. So what? Literary themes for 5th graders, higher education. That address the following learning objective. Now we have our specific learning objective. Think learning outcomes. Think, I was going to say college course learning outcomes, college-wide learning outcomes, program learning outcomes, right? Lesson plan to integrate some of the okay, and then here, look at this. Some form of blended learning opportunities for students. So specific, much more specific prompt here. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Sorry. Much more specific prompt here is going to give you much better results. Okay. I don't know what's going on with my thing. Okay, so this is just another assignment. What is this one? The course. You all can go through these and read these a little bit later, but narrated video presentation. This is the final project of the course. So that's pretty cool. I want to give you all, this is a different bit.ly link. So this is bit.ly 3FQ. Remember, make sure you have lowercase q, uppercase WIW. Let me see if I can find where this goes to. Oh, and real quick, this is the course. If you type in Let's ChatGPT, the what, the where, and the why, you can go into Rob Rose's course and you can see the week by week breakdown, 10 weeks. And then, sorry, I'm trying to find, I thought that I had this link, but I guess I can just click on this link. So let me, I want to show you all this one. If you want that list of prompts, some good prompts that you can use, you can go to that link. And we've got active learning activities, rubric development, discussion questions, and it's all copy and paste. So you would just copy and paste this. I'm going to provide you, so let's try this. I like demos. I'm going to provide you with instructions for an assignment for a college course titled, oh, actually, I don't have this because I don't have an assignment ready for me, but let's try another one. Name of the course. Here we go. Enhanced peer learning. So let's go ahead and put this one in here. So my course is called ESL Grammar Writing 2-3. And watch, I'm gonna leave this misspelled on purpose because just to show you that you don't need to have the perfect, your prompts don't need to be perfect grammar or spelling. ChatGPT has a way to know what you want. So to address the following interlearning objective. See, I don't have all this stuff like readily handy to show you, but this is a great Google Doc where you can go in and you can copy and paste prompts to use into ChatGPT. Let me go ahead and finish this one up here. So I've got some other resources. There's the resource to the Let's ChatGPT. Here's another prompt library. Let's see if I can get this one up quickly. Yeah, so here's some other stuff if you want Bloom's taxonomy. This is all assessments. Oh, they reorganized it. In-class writing assignments, performance task, right? You just click on this, it gives you an example prompt, and then how you can, make it work better for you. Magic School AI is for lesson planning. It's another one where you can go in and it's very similar to this, but instead of going into ChatGPT, you can just do everything here on this website. That's called Magic School if you're looking for a cool tool. This one, EduGPT. EduGPT is really interesting. You've got these, basically they're ChatGPTs, and now they've released something called GPTs. But basically you've assigned you've trained ChatGPT in a specific knowledge set. So this goes back to that role where I was saying making a role at the beginning. But let's say I need some help with Canva. I can come in here once I've signed up and signed in. I can ask for questions specifically related to Canva. Okay, so that's called EduGPT. Oh, and then I just want to leave you with this last one, just in case you think that what is created with ChatGPT and what is not created with ChatGPT. This is a website that if you know about it, that's great. If you didn't know about it, your students know about it. It's called Undetectable AI. It's an advanced AI detector and humanizer. So going back to that example of creating an essay, if I create an essay in ChatGPT, it's most likely not going to be, like the instructor is going to be able to notice the difference and say, oh, this, something seems a little bit strange. This is a little bit too good for, you as a student, or it doesn't sound like your voice. It sounds like, the algorithm created it. What you can do on this website is take what you make in ChatGPT, and you can, these are all the different AI detection tools, and you can go in and humanize it. You would go in and create. So like, let's just say, write an essay on the ethics of AI. Okay, so really generic quick prompt to try to get some quick response. I can already tell you this is not my voice. He is a labyrinthian subject, Turing's intellect, slippery as like, you can see, what is this? Consider the Gordian knot of bias. I could just copy and paste this and give it to my, professor, instructor, and they're going to say, what's the Gordian knot? Who knows, right? So I'm going to take this, and I need to humanize this a little bit more. I'm going to paste this in there. I agree. This is no academic misconduct. They make you check that, but the students. Oh man, so you got to sign up. I'm not going to sign up because I don't want my accounts associated with this website. But those are some links there if you wanted to check out, and definitely something you should keep in mind, that your students are probably using it. Even if you're not using it, your students know about it and are probably using it. So if you need help with anything ChatGPT or generative AI related, we will be coming out with a course for the EdTech track that should be ready in January or February. In the meantime, this is my email address, ronald.lethcoe@cptc.edu, or we have our Teaching and Learning Center email address. You can go there and you can have any questions, concerns about anything AI or anything teaching and learning. So I want to thank you all for watching this presentation. I hope you got some good information out of it. And if you want to talk about AI, questions or comments, just go ahead and send me an email. Thank you very much, and have a nice day.